So the last time you all saw this colony, they only had 2 workers and a few brood. But as time passed, the colony began to grow bigger. No, just kidding, they only gained a few workers, and right now they are currently feeding the little larvae they have over here with the remains of this mosquito that they tore apart. You can even see the queen and this worker helping each other chew up this piece of the mosquito. And clearly, as I just said, the mosquito is not only torn to pieces, but its body parts are also pretty much emptied already. And it's really nice to know that the workers are working really hard to make sure all the larvae are fed so that they grow up to be healthy workers. Because soon, I've already seen signs that they really deserve this. And as you can see over here, there are already some workers picking at the cotton for no reason, despite being given both honey and protein. And some of you may be wondering, what are you giving the colony? Well, as you can see, I'm currently gonna clean up the honey. But if you take a closer look, compared to before, it's getting harder and harder to clean up this colony. And I can't even use my old way of cleaning the test tube anymore because there's so many workers and some of them could drown or even get squished by the wet tissue. Unlike when the colony was just a queen and 2 workers who were too scared to even get near my tweezers. And I know some of you might say, if it's so hard to go mop the floor, why not just give them a feeding tray for their honey and their protein, right? Well, I was thinking about that too. The problem is, I haven't kept small, fast-growing species yet, from what I remember. And it's really hard to deal with them when they crawl out and run out of the test tube like that, because stopping your ants from escaping alone is easy and simple by using cotton, am I right? The problem is putting them back without squishing them on the side of the tube or even the entrance side of the tube. Because I've had queens that I've tried to catch from time to time before. Especially with cotton, they would die because they literally get squished between the cotton and the glass itself. If you know what I mean, like the entrance glass. So that's what I'm worried about. These workers are still nanitics, and only 2 of them are mature workers because they're brood boosted. But either way, they have soft bodies and they run too fast. I could easily get clumsy with them, so I don't want to risk it at the moment. And that's why I'm giving them an outworld. But I'm also really proud of this colony for making it to around 6 workers now. It's really nice seeing them having more than 2 workers now, and it's so beautiful to see all this fast growth. And so to celebrate, instead of giving them a regular termite, spider leg, or even mosquito like we usually do, this time we're gonna give them something special I've been saving for a while, and that is a grasshopper leg. I'm so sorry, that sounded very weird for those who don't keep ants, but basically this is the equivalent of like having a steak dinner or whatever your favorite food is. So it's the same thing with the ants, except, you know, since they don't really have a favorite food, I'm just giving them something new that they haven't tried before. And as you can see, this is what I mean by it's very hard to feed them now. And part of the reason being also because I'm having one hand record and having the other hand give the grasshopper leg. But you get what I mean. Did you see how fast that worker just traveled? And that's not even their maximum speed yet. That was just casual strolling, I think. Let's give it a replay. Yeah, just casual strolling. If you want to see the real speed, that's what the real speed is. And you can see how much faster they are here than that worker or nanitic was in the previous scene. But basically, I hope you get my point. If they travel that fast casually and their casual strolling is like a bit slower, it's still very hard to deal with, especially when they hit their full speed on my bed. So yeah, that's why I want an outworld, because I don't want to end up accidentally squishing them, because number 1, they're too fast, so I can't control how I, you know, pick them up with the cotton. Number 2, yeah, they're too fast, so I could accidentally squish them. And it's harder to get them in the test tube again. Unlike that pharaoh ant queen, which I somehow accidentally squished. That was my fault, not gonna lie. I don't know how I messed that up. Pharaoh ants are supposed to be slow. Anyway, back to the video. One worker curiously approaches the grasshopper meat and immediately starts tasting it. By the way, if my voice kind of sounds a bit weird right now, I'm kind of sick and also kind of sleepy, so if I say anything weird or if I word something wrongly, like for example, the grasshopper leg, it sounds kind of weird, forgive me, because I'm kind of, I don't know, just not feeling well right now. Anyway, sorry, off topic again, let's get back into the video. The queen bravely shows up and starts to check out the grasshopper leg as well, along with a few other workers. Having not been fed for the past 2 days, the queen keeps on eating and chewing on the grasshopper meat because she needs to lay eggs. And the larvae need some protein as well so that they can grow up properly. And I really love the way these ants work very hard, including the queen, which is really cool. Aside from semi-claustral queens, this is the only queen I've seen who's actually worked really hard alongside or even worked more than her workers. So it's really nice to see this happen. Just wouldn't be too nice in the wild though, since there's so much insects out there that would be glad to kill this queen. And when I said even more than her workers, I think I really mean it, because as you can see, it's only the queen that's feasting on the grasshopper leg, and the workers are just strolling around and doing nothing else but exploring, I guess. And I mean it literally. They really are exploring. As you can see, this worker just... What did he just... What? Let's look at that again. I don't know what that is, whether it's a self-defense mechanism because she's scared of me from picking her up and putting her back in the test tube, or if it's their way of urinating or releasing waste. But as you can clearly see, they're traveling so fast as they escape. And this is exactly why I want to give them an outworld, because it's getting so hard to pick them back up and put them back in the test tube safely without accidentally crushing them. And then the founding stage, it's very... We really need the workers, because if we lose some workers, even just 2 or 1, it's a huge dent to the colony's foundation, because in the start, the founding stage, the colony really needs all of the workers they have, even if it's 10 or 12. But anyway, as you can see, the workers are kind of cleaning themselves, and that's because I just picked them up. I'm not even sure if I injured some of their legs, and that's also another reason why I want to give them an outworld. It feels really painful to watch your workers, especially in the founding stage, just clean themselves up or even heal each other from whatever injuries you as their keeper caused them. So it's like really painful to watch, and that's why, yeah, I believe this is my sign to give them an outworld. So today I will be teaching you guys how to make a cheap DIY plastic container small mini outworld. Just kidding, I'm the only one filming at the moment, so it's really hard to teach you guys that, and I need lots of focus. So that's all I can teach you, and maybe a few other things about this outworld before we continue. Hey everyone, here's the outworld, and I know it looks kind of simple and cheap DIY, but no matter how cheap the materials you have are, or no matter whatever you have, no matter how used to it you think you are, please never get too arrogant when you make setups or get too lazy, because we all understand, especially us experienced keepers already, one little mistake, your colony could escape, especially if you're keeping something that's small, like my Technomyrmex colony. I know it looks so simple, but I used to have a hard time with these. But basically, the idea is we make the hole smaller than the actual rubber tube, so that the rubber tube perfectly fits in there. Same thing with the other side, which is a potential expansion port for maybe another test tube in case they need to move, or maybe another outworld with more expansion ports. And over here, just drill the hole in the middle, really simple. Cause like, I have a drill, but for those who don't have a drill, you can work with a hot nail and just put it in your stove if you have blue fire, so that you can melt through the plastic. But make sure to always make your holes smaller than your actual tube, whether it's a milk tea straw or a rubber tube like mine. And yeah, that's it. Just make sure your cotton is placed well, and make sure everything in there is sealed like how it is here, because it's tightly fitting inside the hole over here. And yeah, that's it. And another thing I can give advice on for DIY setups like mine is you gotta make sure that the tube perfectly fits with the rubber tube or whatever you're using. Because obviously, if it doesn't fit perfectly, the ants escape, or the tube even rolls out and goes away. Okay, now, let's go introduce the colony to the outworld. Not gonna lie, I kind of hated it when it started moving and all, as I tried to force it in like that. But it must be done to ensure that there's a tight fit and that the ants can't escape. So a few minutes after I introduced the outworld to their setup, some workers immediately started showing what they do best. They start to get excited and check the place out, but they're too scared because some foreign object is inside their test tube. So it's really funny how sometimes when I feed them, they get out so easily even when I don't make much vibration. They're just calm and chill. But when something is inserted into their test tube, it's like they're so scared to go check in what's inside the rubber tube. But I perfectly kind of understand in some ways since I've seen similar behavior with other colonies. So what usually most keepers do is encourage the ants to go explore by giving them honey. The problem is, they just had that a day before I gave them grasshopper legs, since the way I feed them is I give them honey, and then I clean up the honey, and then after that, I place the protein in. And then when they're done with the protein, I take it out, leave it a few days, and then give them honey. I don't give them honey again right away, if you know what I mean. So basically, they probably have zero intention of exploring at the moment for food since they don't need anything. But let's give it a try anyway. But we're out of feeding trays, so we gotta go make some new ones real quick. I'm gonna teach you guys how to make feeding trays out of a plastic straw like this. So basically, as you can see, we have 2 of these. Let's go feed them some honey. Such a large dish for such a small drop of honey, which isn't even small for this colony. I've been giving them smaller, but since there's more workers now, we're adding a bit more than usual. Just drop the tray in, I guess, like that. And boom. And then, yeah, that's it. Let's go wait for them to go check out the food. Because, as you can see, there's already some exploring right now. As soon as the workers smelled the honey. Oh, sorry, I have no script as I'm talking. I'm literally just freestyling right now. But, alright, let's get back to the actual video. Remember what I said earlier about how they just had their honey a few days ago? Yeah, they literally don't care. It's a waste of energy to go out there and get food because they already have food. They have grasshopper meat for the larvae. They have workers storing honey in their gasters, social stomachs. Basically, how they, it's like the refrigerators, but for ants. Like ants are able to store food in their social stomachs that they can feed to other ants via trophallaxis. But basically, they don't care. So yeah, that's it for this video. That's it for this update. I'll just let myself speak. So anyway, thank you all so much for watching this video. I've tried to make some things better now, like the editing and the voiceovers, except for my, I sound sick and all and how I can't think properly. But I hope you enjoyed this video, just like how much support you've shown the other 2 videos I made ever since I went back to ant keeping. Thank you all so much, by the way. It's like so much more views and comments and likes now compared to before. So I guess you really like the content. I thank you all so much for all the support. And I'll continue updating on this colony and maybe my trap jaw ant queen if she somehow makes a comeback, like how I said in that video, that first video. Anyway, that's it for this video. But before we end, I just have one last thing to show you all. And as soon as I just made that mini video, as soon as I said I don't care, the first worker checked out the honey. The problem is my main camera for that is, well, it's a phone. It's downloading something right now, so I have to use my other phone that is very weak and old. So yeah, there, that's the shot there. They finally care about the honey. You can see the worker drinking. I know it's terrible quality, but yeah, you can see it. You can just watch from afar. Wow, it's gonna go back up there now. It's gonna tell her sisters about something they should have checked out earlier when I was still filming and not busy studying for a test yet. And yeah, that's it. If you're wondering what that noise is, it's a electric fan. Okay, bye-bye.